Right, of course, because I should know who that is.
I don't care what you think.
It's
I'll tell you something that rubbed me right.
Felger and Mazz on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
I'll paraphrase J-Man's question where he says, what do you think about the state of the Red Sox? Where are you right now with regards to the optimism? Can things turn around for them? I'm not going to get into the specifics of the question about Bregman and Breslow and all that stuff. I don't think it's appropriate for this forum, but just the Red Sox, the passion the fan base has.
Yeah, I've done a really good job of staying out of the media, the conversation around the team. That's one of the cool things about just being an advisor is I can kind of give my opinion and I don't have to be part of the public conversation. But I'll say I was actually the first couple minutes I was watching the Red Sox clean up what looked like a good 3-1 win. But I'll say the pitching and defense have been fantastic and
excellent.
Obviously everyone and that's not an easy feat, right? To have that foundation now. Having to figure out the offense and fix it midstream is important. But there's something to build around with the pitching and defense, and I know Brez and the guys are hard at work on fixing the offense.
Yeah.
As always, Agenda Free Fridays are brought to you by Catches Law. At Catches, they specialize in helping those who've been injured not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does this sound like you? Then visit catcheslaw.com. Mazz Murray, how you guys doing?
Good, you?
Good, hello.
Okay, so we played that cut from Theo yesterday, but one day and one bit of reaction is not enough. We're going to continue to react to that comment. Mazz is going to go first with some opening takes and then to your calls. Mazz, what do you got?
Okay, so I don't want to say that we buried the lead yesterday because when Theo Epstein talks for the first time in I don't know how many years, what I do know is that he became part of FSG, the Fenway Sports Group, in January of 2024. So we're now 2 years beyond that. This is the first time we've actually heard him speak and enter the conversation. So to me, that is news, and it's big news when Theo talks. But the other part of the story is what he said. And in that cut there that we played for you, the pitching and defense has been, quote, fantastic. That is, quote, not an easy feat. Quote, the Red Sox have, or I should say the Red Sox have, quote, something to build around. And Craig Breslow and his guys are, quote, hard at work, end quote, to try to fix the offense. When I heard all that, he is not only giving Craig Breslow a vote of confidence, he's endorsing the way that the Red Sox are doing it. So to me, that is one of my big takeaways from what Theo Epstein said. The pitching and defense, not an easy feat. Something to build around. So he's telling you the importance of what they did. Now, again, or what they've done, and that I just think that yesterday, basically, Theo Epstein said they're not changing their philosophy. Craig Breslow's not going anywhere. This is how they're going to do it, whether you like it or not. And so if you're a Red Sox fan and you think that Theo Epstein's going to come in riding some white horse and save the team, he's not. And if you think that somehow he's going to advise them to do things the way that he did them when he was the general manager of the team at the time, he's not. What he's there to do is give his 2 cents on how John Henry and his partners want to do it and tell Greg Breslow where he thinks the best options may be. That's it. Theo's not dictating any kind of philosophy. I am now more convinced than ever that the Red Sox are never going to deviate from this particular model and this philosophy. And the idea of us, the rest of us being rescued, forget it. Not going to happen.
Meanwhile, Mazz, just a quick follow-up. Is building a pitching staff or putting up good numbers on the mound even that great of a feat anymore in today's baseball?
No, it is not, because the overall batting average in Major League Baseball, as we discussed yesterday, is .241. Pitching is more dominant right now than it has ever been, arguably, in the history of the game. The one exception is 1968 when they raised the mound. Bob Gibson had a 1.12 ERA that year, and the batting champion in the American League hit .301. Okay, so the game has been reduced to those levels. This is where we are now. The offense is back to where it was 60 years ago. So the Red Sox aren't pitching better than everybody else. They are pitching where everybody else has been pitching for a while now. So as I said yesterday, congratulations, you caught up.
Red Sox will be on the board today. Murray, what do you got?
That's a perfect segue for me to further dump on those a-holes. Red Sox getting ready to play another trash-ass American League team, the Twins, this weekend at Fenway Park. And given that they've have a pitching matchup advantage 2 of the 3 games. Mentioned this yesterday. Peyton Tolley goes in this first game. You got Sonny Gray Sunday. They'll probably win this series, which of course is going to lead to the continued annoying beat of the drum of they're going to make the playoffs. I won't be fooled. Neither should you. This is not a good baseball team, and the notion that people would genuinely support such a team like this and find this level of success like this acceptable in a place like Boston, I think is part of the problem. This is the type of team that John Henry and these nerds want. Certainly not great, not completely horrendous, just a lower price built team on sustainability. I mean, they're built on sustainability. They're going to be competitive, sort of, but not a real contender. And as Mazz just said, it's not like Theo's going to ride in like a white knight to save it and turn it into what it was in the early 2000s. And just know that if you are going to beat the drum and say, well, they're going to make the playoffs, it's a bad American League this year. If you're into this type of mediocrity, this type of mediocre success, congrats. You now have more in common with the fan bases in media in mid-market hellholes like Cincinnati and Minnesota and Kansas City, Pittsburgh, any of these places. This is what you've turned yourself into. Do not be fooled. They stink. And I'm of the belief the reckoning's going to come. You have a better chance of seeing Aaron Rodgers' fake wife holding a press conference at Steelers training camp here in the next few weeks, supporting him, and this is going to be his last season, than seeing the Red Sox actually having a winning record at any point this season. Because after the Twins, you get the Braves, and then Cleveland, and the Yankees, and the Rays. And again, the reckoning can begin then. But just what's happened here in just a handful of days, when, as I mentioned yesterday too, it was like a week or two ago, you had people wearing bags on their heads, chanting "sell the team" for the last month, and now some of you, the same people, are like, oh no, they're going to make the playoffs. No, they're not that bad. They stink. Don't be fooled.
Okay, you mentioned Aaron Rodgers. I want to hit on Aaron Rodgers today and do a fair amount of football today. I won't give you my full take, but I do want to just open up a little bit of conversation. I'm going to ask you guys something we've done in the past, but just list your all-time great quarterbacks and stop when you get to Aaron Rodgers. So just in a break or when you got a minute, just jot that down.
Sure.
And you let me know where you think Aaron Rodgers ranks all-time, or what tier he is, what grouping he's in, what is his legacy, what should be his legacy, and your thoughts on him coming back for one more year. I also read one of the great takedown pieces of Aaron Rodgers I've frankly ever read. It was so good. I'm jealous. I could have written it myself if I cared to write. So I'll give you snippets of that, and we'll open up that conversation later on in the program. But as we like to do, opening segment, we'll go right to the calls, 617-779-0985. And as I said, everything is on the table. And maybe even today, Murray and Mazz, maybe we'll do a true agenda-free. Like, call us on whatever you want. Like that kind of thing. The morning show, shoot the breeze kind of thing.
Oh.
We can do that.
Oh, you mean outside of sports?
Right. We'll see how it goes. But in the spirit of that, Tony in New Hampshire, lead us off. Go ahead, Tony.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Happy Memorial Day coming up. And in the spirit of Agenda Free Friday, my wife and I just got back from a vacation with another couple, and I want to know if what I did, in your opinion, was rude or if I had every right to do it. The other couple drinks like fishes. My wife and I don't drink. For the first 3 days, every time we went out to eat, we split the bill evenly right down the middle. After the third day, when the waiter came to the table, I said to the guys, I would like separate checks, please. And there was an immediate uncomfortability by everyone but me at the table. And I want to know, was I rude to do that, in your opinion? Or, I mean, I'm paying almost $100 extra, and I don't drink.
Good question. Murray, go ahead.
Tony, I would say no in this case, because if you and your wife do not drink and you're paying $100 extra, then it is well within your right to get a separate check. Most of the times, 99.9% of the time, I'm saying you split no matter what. But if it's way out of whack and they drink like fishes, like he said, no, you got a separate bill.
Well, here's the other thing. I would argue that it's obvious when someone is not drinking at dinner. Like, that's obvious. You can see it. It's right there in front of you. And if the other side is drinking like crazy, the other side should say, we'll pay for our drinks, we'll split dinner. That is the right thing to do.
Right, the onus should be on them. You're right.
Right, exactly. That is incumbent upon that person to recognize it and say, hey, I'm not going to ask you to pick for my drinks, to pay for my drinks. If you got 3 days into it and they didn't say anything, they were definitely trying to mooch you.
Well, or they're just clueless. They're not paying attention. I can't stand people like that.
Oh, God, the worst.
No awareness. Like, just think for a second of the other person. So, yeah, time to get new friends, is what I would say on that.
Boom.
Rusty in Chicago. How's that? How are those Finnish goalies doing, by the way, real quick? Let me just check in on that first.
You know, it's funny, Mike, because you go into the choking and you use the word fraud and choke a lot. There's a certain fraud element to choking. You look and you act like there's something, and then you can't deliver. And that's the definitions, they're intertwined.
I'm not sure what you're talking about. All I know is Team Finland is destined for the bronze medal game, and the Finnish goalie is destined to crap his pants at the end. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what you're talking about. I was curious how you liked Uka time up there in Buffalo.
Honestly,
but anyway, go ahead.
He was good in Game 7. He was. And you even said it yourself because you're fair. But let's talk about fairness. Has anyone on this show or on this station recognized the U-turn of opinion on Mike Tomlin that everybody went through as soon as Belichick stopped giving a crap and sent the Pats into hell? All of a sudden, Tomlin becomes this good to great coach when everybody was laughing at him as being a cheerleader in a cartoon the entire reign of success. Has anyone acknowledged that?
Yes. Well, yes. It happened with the quarterbacks early, too. Like when you had Tom Brady, boy, you know. What you're saying is, during the Brady-Belichick time, you all were a bunch of dicks. If you weren't Belichick, you sucked as a coach. If you weren't Brady, you sucked as a quarterback. Everybody sucked. Everybody. But as soon as they left, or Belichick came back to earth, then it became, no, actually Matthew Stafford is pretty good. And if Drake May becomes Jared Goff, that's a win. And Mike Tomlin's actually a good coach. So, like, all I consider that is you acknowledging you're a bunch of dicks during that time when the Patriots were winning. That's all. That's what that is. How about Rich in Lincoln? He says he has a new rule for Felger and Mazz. Go ahead, Rich.
Hey, guys. It might not even be a new one. It might sort of be a rephrasing of what you had, but I loved when you used to talk about the Felger and Mazz commandments, and I propose that a caller makes 1 point. So if a phone call starts with, hey, guys, I want to make 3 quick points, can you just end that call? Because no one wants to listen to more than one.
I feel that way all the time.
Yeah, 1 point.
1 point. You don't get 3. You're not giving us your treatise. You're not giving us your syllabus. You just make a point and let's move on, shall we? But then I jump in and I look like the dick. Right? You know what I mean? Like it's a delicate balance, Mazz, to keep the show moving and not come across as some sort of a-hole.
Well, there's got to be rules because otherwise we then have chaos.
Yeah, I don't think you've ever been interested in the balance.
Here's Carl in New Jersey with the Celtics thought here on Agenda Free Friday. Go ahead, Carl.
Hey, so I want to make 2 points just to piss off that other guy, but to make things short and sweet, I have a hypothetical trade that benefits everybody. Jaylen Brown gets to be a one option. The Celtics have an excuse to shoot 500 threes a game. The Celtics don't have to pay Jaylen Brown $70 million a year. Jaylen Brown for Steph Curry. I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, I don't think that's a realistic possibility. Nope. His comment line said he wants Austin Reeves. We brought up that rumor yesterday. That's one that I can't see. Last one, this segment. Brian in the truck. Go ahead, Brian.
Mazz, I want to preface this phone call by saying this is a very, very sad point for me as a Red Sox fan, but could you see a scenario where as a Red Sox fan we have to start rooting for the salary cap in the league because it's got to save the Red Sox kind of like it saved the Bruins? Again, yes. Very sad day.
Yes. Yep. I think
really, Mazz.
Yeah, I think that's where we are. Yeah. Again, if you have an advantage over every other team in the league, and that is that you can spend more than they can, but you won't use it, well then let's go to the salary cap. I mean, to me, first of all, I get agitated at the teams in the sport that don't spend the money that they get in revenue sharing. So that's another impetus for me to do it. But in the case of the Red Sox, they're leaking away their advantage. They don't want to use it. So if they don't want to use it, well, then change the rules. Make it more equitable for everybody. Now, look, I think baseball's had a problem with this anyway. So I'm ashamed to say on some level that I'm actually in favor of a salary cap in the sport. But for a long time, I didn't believe it. But I feel like now they need it because this is really, the game's gotten stupid.
Truly agenda-free heading into the Memorial Day weekend. You can call on non-sports, pretend you're mowing your lawn, and Mazz is mowing his lawn next door, and you both pause for a second. And you just pop up from your riders and just have a chat. What do you chat about?
Yeah, Mazz, do you lime your lawn?
617-779-0985. Back to you right after these words.
Felger and Mazz continues on the Sports Hub.
This could be your last year. Do you even think of that right now?
Yes. This is it, yeah.
Glad to be back. And was there much doubt, if any, you would come back?
Yeah, there was some doubt for sure, but I had good conversations with Mike going back to when he was hired, and yeah, it's nice to come back. I mean, it felt different than last year because I knew some of the guys and some of the people that work here and stuff, so it felt good coming in.
Aaron, what was that decision-making process like for you? How did you eventually come to the decision to return?
Yeah, there were a lot of conversations with Mike and Omar and for a while, and I just had a lot of conversations with my wife about it, and after the draft came to the conclusion that I wanted to play, I wanted to come back.
Murray, you want to give me your top quarterbacks of all time and stop when you get to Rodgers?
Yeah, so Brady, obviously number one. Then I go Mahomes, Montana, Elway, Manning at 5, Steve Young, Aikman, Favre, and then Rodgers at 9.
Okay. You don't sound. There's a question mark there.
Because I don't. Because he's ultimately underachieved. Like, I know people are like, well, why not Marino? I mean, Marino went to one Super Bowl, I think his second season, never got back to one. I know he was a machine, put up a ton of numbers, but because Rodgers won one, I have to somewhat reluctantly put him ahead of Marino.
So, do you want to do it, Mazz?
Yeah, sure. Quickly, Brady, Montana, Mahomes, Elway, Manning, Favre, and then, to me, you get into that whole class where you would probably put Rodgers. I think he was an elite passer, and I would put him in the same class as Dan Marino, someone like that.
He's in a second tier.
He's a little ahead of Marino.
I agree with all of your sentiments except for one, and that is I have him ahead of Favre. And it's close. I think they're in the same grouping. I think they're 5 to 10. But, I mean, I have massive problems with both guys as players and as people. But there was a level to Favre's negligence that I just can't give. I mean, he just...
Oh, it's undeniable, Mike. I'll just tell you, the only reason for me I put Favre ahead of Rodgers is because he made another Super Bowl.
I mean, I get it. But Favre lost them so many games.
Oh, yeah.
Rodgers didn't win at the level that he should have, but you didn't come out of many games saying that a-hole cost us the game. You really didn't happen. You didn't do that with Rodgers. What you did with Rodgers was... You had the ball there 3 times in the fourth quarter with a chance to win, and you didn't do it. But you didn't come out of it saying you had to throw 4 interceptions, or you had to throw the interception in overtime, And that happened with Favre over and over and over again. So I have to go Rodgers ahead of Brett Favre, which I do, somewhere in the 5 to 10 range. But putting Aaron Rodgers with Dan Marino is fair. And I have him ahead of Dan Marino, but I have the same problem with both. And that is... Ultimately, they weren't team guys. And ultimately, they were part of the reason they didn't win more than they should have. And I say they were part of the reason, not their ability, their attitude. And who they were as people. And I think Rodgers was worse than Marino. But Marino got in the way. Ego clashes with the coach, and do we throw it, do we run it? And that whole thing. And Marino had some off-field stuff that wasn't really reported at the time. And I don't know if that... I think that got in the way with him as well. There's a whole side story there with Marino, I think. So either way, that's where he should be. But, boy, was there a takedown piece by him. Yahoo Sports. Robert Ziglinski. Excuse me for butchering the name. Robert Ziglinski for the win, Yahoo Sports. I'm not sure exactly what the affiliation should be. I read it on yahoosports.com. Headline. Washed-up NFL legend announces impending retirement to disinterested nation. That's the headline.
That's a great headline.
Washed-up NFL legend announces impending retirement to disinterested nation. On Wednesday, Aaron Rodgers broke the seal. After years of festering will he or won't he consternation, darkness retreats, picking fights with football heliographs, I don't even know what that means, and precipitously declining play on the field, the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback declared he will finally retire after the 2026 season. To that I say, congratulations. Do you want a cookie? Anyway, what else is going on in the world? Quite literally anywhere. In all seriousness, I mean, this is me saying, like, why should we care about this at all? In all seriousness, writes Yahoo, Rodgers did this to himself. even if you take the words of a glorified charlatan like him at face value, and you really believe he'll retire at the age of 43 coming up this January, it's hard to muster up the necessary pomp and circumstance for him. You know, the kind of farewell tour and celebrations usually reserved for beloved athletes and sports figures. To earn that, you have to be both special at your craft and, if not outright kind to others, at least a seemingly decent human being enough not to alienate almost everyone in your orbit. Rodgers did not do that, he says. From his stomping grounds in Green Bay to a desperate New York, he burned every bridge. He yelled at his teammates for making mistakes in postseason games where he didn't perform up to par, then acted like a pouty grade school child who didn't get his way over offseason moves. He's feuded with coaches and general managers and brought down entire regimes with his toxic influence and presence. At almost every step of late, he's castigated the people who don't want to make him look like the doofus that he really is. Again, at every step, he's castigated the people who don't want to make him look like the doofus that he really is. The reporters on the ground and the fancy schmancy TV folks, but who have to write the harsh truth when that's the only material he gives them. Rodgers is a 4-time NFL MVP, a Super Bowl champion, a perennial Pro Bowler. He was, for all intents and purposes, the peak of his quarterback position in his playing prime. No one was better. He will walk into Canton one day, very soon, and from a football perspective, be immortalized as one of the greatest ever to wear a helmet and shoulder pads, full stop. He says, but a player like that at the center of America's cultural touch-tone sport should be an icon. We should talk about them with reverence. Mention them as memorable folk tales to our children and their children's children when trying to pass the game we love as heritage. Rodgers will get none of that. Mostly there will be sweet relief like there is now, because long ago everyone realized they were rolling out a red carpet for an insecure, sniveling Duke, not an all-time great king. Because above all, Rodgers deserves to be an afterthought. Someone whose life's work is destined to be immediately upstaged by a person everyone actually cherished, Veep style. I don't even know what that means, but is this too harsh, Mazz?
No, not at all. It's totally legit, on the money. In fact, I would say bullseye. This guy's got it. Aaron Rodgers should have been so much more than he was. Totally right about that. And he has. He's treated people like garbage for a long time now.
He's a guy who's always pointed at someone else at any point in his career, or really, because I guess it really didn't start that early, but I don't know, maybe you can correct me because you've always followed the Packers, Mike, but he's a guy that's always pointed at someone else and said, well, it's his fault. It's never Aaron Rodgers' fault. He points at someone else and says, well, he was the problem.
So he's got issues that I don't know what's at the base of them, but as the writer points out, I mean, he's blown up most every relationship he's ever had. And, he got Mike McCarthy fired. And now he's carrying on like it was Mike McCarthy that brought him back. I mean, maybe he did, but, who knows with this guy? He doesn't talk to his family. He doesn't talk to his brothers. He's rifled through a million different partners in his romantic life. And, it's not like he talks to any of them. I mean, you know what I mean?
Except this fake wife of his.
Let's see where this goes. But it's like it ends, and then it's like there's never they're nuked. The relationships are just napalmed. Everyone. So like he's got something. There's a story in there somewhere with him, and that got in the way of winning. I mean, but I will say though, I in terms of how he threw the football, like if we're just doing that, I think it's like Marino and him and Elway. I mean, you tell me, Mazz, the greatest pure passers, not quarterbacks, not winners. This is a different list. Pure passers in the history of the game. He might be top three.
Yeah, no, he might be. You're right. We're talking about arm strength, accuracy, quality of the spiral, the whole 9 yards, right?
Release, the way he threw the football.
Yeah, no, he's probably in the top three. Yeah, look, he's in the top group, that's for sure.
I mean, Marino might be one.
Yeah, Marino's probably one.
I mean, even Peyton Manning had a wobbly ball.
He did.
And, the Brady threw the ball better than people gave him credit for, but...
Can I make a case for Warren Moon, too? He threw a good ball. He had a cannon for an arm.
where he just purely threw the football.
Yeah.
So again, but you're also saying like the guy's got to be good, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like I mean, Jeff George could spin it.
Right.
Yeah.
Jeff George threw like the funniest ball I've ever seen.
I mean, Derek Carr can spin it.
Yeah,
Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler threw a great ball, just a meathead.
So you got to have. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was good at the line of scrimmage. He didn't just throw the football, and he took care of the football. He didn't turn it over, and he was good at the line of scrimmage and whatever. But it just sort of speaks to with all those gifts. So the game slowed down for him. He could read defenses. He could get you in the right play. For much of his career, he moved wonderfully. He wasn't a runner, but he ran when he had to, and he had great pocket presence and feet. He had it all. He had a head for the game. He could read defenses. He was one of the best pure passers in the history of the game. He moved well. How does he only go to one Super Bowl? And the answer is he was an a-hole. I mean, that's like the answer. Like what? And it
is the answer.
He was surrounded by good enough teams. I'm not telling you the best team. And it'd be one thing if he went to Super Bowls and lost to Brady, and then you'd say, okay, well, they went up against the best ever, and that's what happens there. But he never even got to the effing game. So, he deserves this kind of stuff, I think. And the Willie Won't He, finally, that thing is over. But anyway, that happened that week. I did want to touch on that. It's a Friday, so we can add that to the list of everything that you want to talk about. We'll get right back to you after Murray's update here, and then we are right back. Whee! Goalie fight.
Felger.
Whee! Look at the goalie fight.
Oh,
Mazz.
oh my God.
Murray.
He sucks in the playoffs.
That's great. No.
98.5.
Wonderful. Good.
The Sports Hub.
This will be the 6th consecutive win for a road team during these Stanley Cup playoffs. Montreal coming off the emotional Game 7 overtime win in Buffalo on Monday. Comes into Wally against the Carolina team that swept their first two series. And the Canadiens take Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final by the score of 6-2.
See, the Carolina Hurricanes can, for once, exactly, not puke all over themselves.
Mazz and I were just discussing the ugly numbers surrounding this team. I knew it was bad for the Hurricanes. I didn't know it was 1-17 in their last 18 conference finals games going back to 2009 bad.
Can I tell you that this is literally one of the great statistics in the history of professional sports.
Wow.
They have been to the conference finals. This is the 5th time now, I believe, right? 5th time.
Yeah.
I don't have the numbers. Go ahead.
Okay, 5th time. This is since 2009. This is their 5th conference final. They are 1-17, and that's overall. That's not home or road. They're 1-17 in the conference final, and their only win was against Florida when the Panthers were up 3-0. That's it. They have not come close to winning a meaningful game in the conference finals in basically almost 20 years.
And they've lost their last 10 conference finals home games. It's again, I knew it was kind of bad. I didn't know it was this bad.
And this is all that's standing between us and that deplorable Montreal Canadiens franchise going to the Stanley Cup Finals. That's all that's standing between that and that. And that is disgusting. So, you want to talk about just a description of last night's game? Skating circles. The Canadiens skated circles, quite literally skated circles around the Carolina Hurricanes, who are a good skating team. And it was no match. Skated circles around them. And I know Carolina's coming off that long layoff, so there was going to be rust, and there's another number out there. I think they showed it on the broadcast last night, that teams coming off of a Game 7 overtime win, facing a team that swept the previous round, is 7-1 in Game 1. Something like that. The situation you faced last night, where Carolina, they swept their first two series. They've been sitting on their ass for 11 days. Montreal coming off a back-to-back 7-game series, an overtime Game 7 win. In that situation, the Montreal side is 7-1 all time. So you could expect that. But was that what that was, or was that Carolina?
I mean, if you watched how it started, too, I thought Montreal was in real trouble because they were getting pushed around in the forecheck. It led to that Jarvis goal. I was like, oh, all right, they're in for it. This is a rested, good Hurricanes team. And they're still announcing the assists Caulfield scored, and then it was just an onslaught. It was over. Like, they were all over them after that moment. It flipped on a dime.
Okay, as promised, back to your phones. Here, Kyle in the car. What do you got, Kyle, on Agenda Free Friday?
Hey, guys. Just calling in. I was wondering if you guys had heard about this story with Southampton FC in the English Championship in the Premier League playoff final. Echoes of Spygate.
Just be quick. Tell me the story.
Yeah, so effectively Southampton has been caught spying on teams throughout the season and has been kicked out of the playoff final for promotion to the Premier League and deducted points for next season. And it's one of the biggest kind of scandals in English football history, as it actually cost the club hundreds of millions of dollars.
Did they release a Premier League scandal in context website and then take it to the Supreme Court, or did they take their medicine and move on? Curious. How about Jay in Holliston on a baseball point? Go ahead, Jay.
Tony, a couple times you mentioned in '68 the mound was raised, but actually the opposite is true. It was lowered in '68. It was the reaction of the year of the pitcher, and it was lowered from 15 to 10 inches. It was the first of many ill-considered moves that year. The strike zone was reduced from shoulders to knees to armpits to knees. Fences were moved in. And that set us on the track from baseball to becoming bashball. And we're about to do the same thing again. We keep tinkering and tinkering and tinkering.
Okay. Does this guy have his history right, Mazz?
He's got it wrong. They lowered it from 15 to 10 after 68, before 69.
Because Gibson got, everybody out that he faced the entire year like that, right?
Yes. He literally had a 1.12 ERA that year.
And they brought the fences in 1969? No, that was the era of all those big multi-purpose stadiums started to get built. What's that guy talking about?
I have no idea.
It's just annoying. He's wasted a minute of our lives, in his bizarro world history. Dan in the car. Go ahead, Dan.
So, hey, understanding that you guys are allowing topics that are not the most cutting-edge sports takes, I got a Friday before Memorial Day observation to share. So, Mike, I know there's one thing you've lamented in sports over the last 20 years, and it's this over-reliance and dependence on analytics and data that really reduces the human-based assessment in sports, right? And with sports betting and everything else going on, data and AI, it's numbers are everywhere. Well, last Tuesday night, the Knicks were down by 21 points with 7:39 to go in the game. And ESPN tells me that the Cavs are a 99.9% chance to win the game, meaning if that scenario was played 1,000 times, the Knicks would lose 999 times. But as a human, I say to myself, didn't we see the Knicks actually do something very much like what they did Tuesday night?
Dan, let me cut you off. Thank you for the call. I hate that in-game winning percentage and how all the kids today just cite that number. It's ridiculous. Don't you hate that? The in-game winning percentage at a 98.7% chance of winning that game? Why do I need that number to know that being up 21 points with seven-something minutes left means you should win that game? Why do I need to know that's 99.9 or 89 point? You know what I mean, Mazz? That whole thing is just ridiculous, and all the kids today just sort of lob on and latch onto that number. And as the caller's pointing out, it's inflated. The Knicks had a better than 99.9% chance, or the Cavs had whatever. The Knicks' chances were better than 0.01% in that situation.
Absolutely, yeah. Again, the number really is useless.
Yeah, I hate it because these geeks treat it as gospel, but the reason I do like it is that afterwards, all these same geeks are like, well, that wasn't supposed to happen. The numbers were computed. They had a 99.9% chance of winning. How did this happen? Because you didn't factor in choking. You didn't factor in momentum. Real things that happen in sports that you nerds can't quantify.
That's right, Murray. Exactly right. Steve and Shirley, what do you got, Steve?
Well, first of all, I have no faith in the Red Sox because you, Mike Felger, have a better sense of talent, Caleb Durbin, than Craig Breslow.
I do.
The team got better by calling up two marginal major leaguers in Sogart and Gasper.
They absolutely did. Steve, I'll just cut you off there.
It's a good point. It's a good point. No, they had a couple of, they brought up two guys who were basically 4A players, and their team got better, which should tell you about some of the talent on the big league roster. The big one really is, what's his name at third? Durbin.
Nick Sogard? Oh.
Well, Sogard for Durbin.
Yeah.
Right?
He's way better than Caleb Durbin.
Right, and so, Mike, this is the point like that. If you just have somebody who's half functional at the position, they'll be better than they've played, at least offensively, because Durbin was the worst offensive player in the big leagues.
So Nick Sogard is Caleb Durbin with slightly different skills. I mean, Sogard's faster, right? Like, he's got really good speed, but they're kind of the same caliber of player. The fact that you gave up a pretty good pitching, a young left-handed arm like Kyle Harrison, for someone who is basically Nick Sogard.
Yep, that's right.
I mean, that's basically what Caleb Durbin is.
Yeah.
Who just had a good year for a team last year in Milwaukee who knew how to use him. But you just look at him in a vacuum. That's what he is. 4A player with no real plus skills. Sogard is, I think, am I right that Sogard's really fast, Mazz?
Yeah, he is. I'd say they're probably comparable in foot speed. I think Sogard's a little more useful. I say that because he's a switch hitter. He puts the bat on the ball. Like, you know what I mean? It's stuff like that. So I think there's some skill set there. But your point about them being basically the same player is right. Same level of player. Yes.
Durbin's a really good fielder. Maybe Sogard does a little bit more with the bat, but net, they're the same guy.
Exactly right. And that's what you traded Kyle Harrison for.
Oh, my God. Brutal.
That guy might win the freaking Cy Young with the way he's going. I'm not joking. He looks ridiculous.
We continue with your thoughts. Long commercial-free segment is next. Sean and Lawrence. Go, Sean.
You keep saying, like, I didn't actually watch the game, whether it's Patriots, Celtics, Bruins, whatever. Like, isn't your job as a talk show host to actually watch sports?
So I would say my job is to get you to listen.
That is the job.
Mission accomplished.
Take this job and shove. Felger and Mazz, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
I think you made the point yourself, Tony, a couple weeks ago, talking about all these Red Sox teams that you've covered, that I've covered over the last couple of decades here. Even when they suck, they still hit. They still will go out there and bang balls off the wall, hit their homers, lead the league in doubles almost every single year, be a top 5 team in doubles every single year. The hard part is locking down the pitching and the defense. It's been great starting pitching. It's been great relief pitching. It's been great defense. You're the Boston Red Sox, man. Figure it out. Add a bat. Figure it out. There has to be a way to do that and not wait until 2028. God forbid there's a lockout next year and you don't play any baseball next year. There has to be a way to make things really interesting because the baseball gods are giving you every opportunity to climb back in this thing. The American League sucks. You add a cornerstone bat to this team, it can flip like that. It really can.
If you're going to do this, that bat needs to be someone that's going to put asses in seats. So maybe that's Yordan Alvarez. I don't know. Maybe it's Mike Trout, like you said. You heard from a brown check mark. If they're going to do something like that, and you want to win someone like me back, it's going to have to be a real name, someone that's box office. And I don't think they're willing to do that either because box office means money, which they don't want to spend.
But if they do keep pitching and playing defense like they are, if they can just get a middle-of-the-pack offense, Mazz, versus a last-place offense, they might make the postseason. I mean, that's actually true, isn't it?
Yes, it is. In fact, I think if that happens, like, somewhere, call it 84 to 86 wins, somewhere in that area is in play. And given the state of the American League, that'll get you in. Usually the number with this 7th wild card has been around 87, 88, somewhere in there. The league is so bad right now that final wild card spot, the team has a losing record. I don't know if that changed last night. It's possible it did. It got to 500. But the point is, right around 500 will get you in, or a little bit better. And their pitching is good enough where I could see them going on a winning streak against bad teams, sure.
Back to your phones. As promised, Noel in Rhode Island. Go ahead, Noel.
Hi, want to introduce a trade for you guys. So Jaylen Brown for Jared Jackson. You just give you some things about Jared Jackson. Jared Jackson is 26, so he's younger. He's a 2-time block champ, 3-time all-defensive, and a DPOY. He has 2 years where he has averaged over 22 points. You would be trading him for draft picks as well. I think it's possible. Danny Ainge is over there. Danny Ainge loves Jaylen Brown. They need a vet. We need a big. And he also shoots threes. He's averaged, career-wise, 5 3-point attempts, and he has a 3-point percentage of 350. So just want to get you guys' thoughts on that.
I'll defer to Mazz and Jimmy Stewart on Jaren Jackson. Your thoughts?
So I'll just tell you quickly, I like the player. I've always liked the player. You'd have to get more back.
Isn't that who they wanted instead of Jason Tatum, but he gave him the high hat when they flew out there to meet with him?
Yeah, that sounds right.
No, it's a different one.
No, that was...
Same name?
No, that was Josh Jackson. Was that Josh Jackson, Jimmy?
He ended up going to Phoenix, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so anyway, Stu, how do you feel about Jaren Jackson, his Jaren Jackson?
I'm accepting of it if that's what the move is for Jaylen Brown, but you need to get more than that. But that's a good player who helps you.
Does it help you down at the rim? Does it give you the inside thing
Absolutely
that Brad Stevens? Okay. So, listen, I'm not as familiar with that player as I should be. So I'll defer to you all on that. No, I'll trade Jaylen Brown, but only if I'm winning the trade. I'm not doing it just to unload Jaylen Brown. If Jaren Jackson means you're winning the trade, then I'm in. If not, then no. Noah in Kansas City on Agenda Free Friday. Go ahead, Noah.
Yeah, just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on the USA, World Cup coming up here. I haven't heard you guys really give any opinions on it, so just kind of wanted to see if you're interested in all. I don't expect them to do anything, and it's just funny. I remember Felger, back 12 years ago, especially during the 2014 World Cup, you specifically were saying, soccer could maybe be big in the country 20, 30 years from now. Well, now that we're kind of another 12, 15 years from that area, do you still see soccer possibly becoming big in the USA still, or is that just a pipe dream?
No, they blew it. And they had me. They had me, which is I'm the swing guy for soccer in this country. Why are you smirking, Mazz?
I don't know. It just sounds like, you're the linchpin.
I am. It's all about me.
The baseline has to be they make the round of 16, right? I mean, no one expects them to win.
No, just wait. When I say me, I mean
people like you.
Yeah, like me. Yeah, that's what I meant. Casual soccer fan that can be brought in. I'm there to be had. If Team USA progressed from where they were, that team, we did it, Mazz, 10 years ago, right? It was
of course.
Dempsey, Donovan, Josie Altidore, the Bradley kid, who was Howard the keeper, that era so it was 2 or 3 cycles ago. I thought they had a little something. I thought that was an interesting team, and they made it out of the knockout round, and I was in, and I was ready. If they made a step, I would have gone right there with them. And if MLS had continued to do the right things, I would have been right there with them. But Team USA went backwards. They didn't even qualify one year. Now the team's hard to recognize. They qualified automatically this time. Who knows if they would have qualified if they had to go through the full CONCACAF thing. They might not even have made it like they didn't 2 times ago. So the team's gotten worse. And then MLS, in their infinite wisdom, these idiots, right when they're gaining momentum and they have the most recognizable player on the planet, you know what they do? They don't just take all their games to the internet. They take all their games to a special paid corner of the internet where you don't just have to have Apple TV. You got to pay for Apple TV Plus or the MLS package on. Go F yourself. What idiots. So I think they blew it. So when I say me, Mazz, yeah, me. But guys like me, I think there were others that were just sort of ready. And this also, Mazz, was when baseball was teetering. Baseball had lost its way. The games were taking way too long, and the game had ground to a halt. And so baseball as a product, I thought was declining. I thought, you're still smirking. Are you laughing at me? Why are you smirking?
Because I think that you as it pertains to soccer, you're kind of like the New Hampshire primary. Or
I am.
The Iowa,
I'm Doxville Notch.
The Iowa caucus. It's yeah, Murray, you're going to watch soccer? I'm just going to wait to see what Felger does.
I'm just telling you, the soccer people out there, you had me. You had me. I was ready. I was ready to come along.
You had me at Montador.
You had me.
Out the door.
And you blew it. The sport blew it in this country. So, yes, I'll watch the USA matches, but I there was a time I could give you the whole roster. Remember, who was the coach that we liked? Was it Jurgen Klinsmann that we liked or didn't? I can't remember. We were into it.
Yeah, no. Klinsmann was the coach at that time. That's correct.
And, we did it. We watched the matches. We kind of covered. Mazz dumped on it like he's doing now. He's sort of mocking the whole premise of talking about it. But anyway.
Wasn't Bruce Arena in the mix there, too?
Yeah, listen, soccer, you never had Mazz. Fine. You never had Mazz. You had guys like me. Guys like me, if not me.
I might watch it this year, though.
No, yeah, I don't need your wise ass comments, but I'm telling you,
I want to see Ronaldo win one.
Soccer had a chance, and American soccer had a chance. I think they totally blew it. Back to your calls on Agenda Free Friday after Murray's 90-second update. No commercials here.